Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, 45 million Americans from coast to coast under the threat of extreme weather. A powerful storm slams the northern plains and Midwest. Multiple accidents on interstates across the country, while an atmospheric river is bringing up to a foot of rain to parts of the West Coast, flooding homes and fields. Our Ginger Z is tracking it all. To a Manhattan courtroom where today's stunning body camera footage showed the moment police confronted accused killer Luigi Mangione. Officers pull up to a Pennsylvania McDonald's after the manager called 911 about a customer who resembled the suspect wanted for the murder of a CEO in New York City.
I'm Aaron Katursky at the courthouse where new details about Luigi Mangione emerged as his attorneys are trying to get key evidence thrown out of the case.
Representative Jasmine Crockett, with her slogan of Texas Tough, launches her run for the Senate, sure to shake up next year's Democratic primary. Crockett joins us tonight to talk about the race and her bid to become the first Democrat to win a statewide race in Texas in more than 30 years. Waymo, the company behind those self-driving taxis in the headlines recently, involving close calls with pedestrians and standoffs in the middle of traffic, are quickly becoming a common sight in big cities. In tonight's Prime Focus, we talk to the company about safety concerns and take an in-depth look at the competitive field of autonomous vehicles. A first-of-its-kind social media law goes into effect in Australia, placing an age restriction on using social media platforms and compelling companies to find and remove any underage accounts. The new law comes amid growing concerns worldwide about social media's impact on children. Could this work here at home, and how?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are tracking that bone-chilling, bitter, life-threatening cold. But first, for the first time, police body camera video has been released showing the arrest of alleged CEO killer Luigi Mangione 1 year ago today, captured after that frantic 5-day manhunt across state lines. Video shows the moment police responded to a 911 call at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The caller says a customer resembles the suspect. An officer walks by him for a quick look before turning back, asking him his name and to show his ID. Today, officers testified about his first court appearance, Mangione yelling to the crowd, and what he said to them as he left the courthouse. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the latest from court.
Tonight, exactly 1 year after his arrest, we're seeing for the first time the stunning body camera footage showing the moment police confront accused killer Luigi Mangione. Officers pulling up to an Altoona, Pennsylvania McDonald's after the manager called 911 about a customer who resembled the suspect wanted for the murder of a CEO in New York City. The officer first walks by to have a look at the man seated with his breakfast in the back corner, then doubles back to approach.
Yes, sir. There you go. Can you put your mask down real quick for me? Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Officer Joseph Detweiler later testified, at that moment, I knew it was him immediately. The officer asking the young man's name.
What's your name? Mark. What is it? Mark. Mark? Yes, sir. Mark what? Rosario. Rosario? Someone called tonight. They thought you were suspicious. Oh, I'm sorry. Is your ID on you? Yes, sir. Thanks.
Mangione allegedly hands over a fake New Jersey ID for a Mark Rosario.
I thought she looked like someone guilty to run somebody.
The officer then hands the ID to his partner to check the name and license number.
Player 6, 27, 29 out of New Jersey.
The body camera footage played at a hearing to decide what evidence will or won't be used against Mangione at trial. Today, the judge heard from an officer who escorted Mangione to and from court a year ago when he erupted.
Completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. It's time to finish.
The officer described how Mangione looked at the crowd and said, all these people here for a mass murderer. Wild. He added, I was walking a little too fast for him and he stumbled. I apologized and said I forgot he was shackled. He said, it's okay. I'll have to get used to it. Police said they pulled this handwritten note from Mangione's backpack, mapping out what prosecutors called his possible escape routes, like Pittsburgh and nearby cities. On the flip side, a reminder to change hat, shoes, and pluck eyebrows. The McDonald's manager told 911 that's how customers recognized him.
The only thing you can see is his eyebrows.
Very distinctive eyebrows indeed. Aaron Katursky joins us now. Aaron, how much longer can we expect this hearing to last?
This is going to go well into next week, Linsey. That body camera footage that you saw released after Mangione's arrest 1 year ago today, and now he's been seated here at court watching himself on the screen get questioned, searched, and handcuffed as his attorneys fight to get key evidence seized from him that day thrown out of the case. Linsey?
Aaron Kadersky for us. Thanks so much, Aaron. Now to the alarming shooting late today on campus at Kentucky State University. Police responded to reports of a gunman opening fire. Multiple people were injured. Here's ABC's Matt Rivers.
A suspect is in custody tonight after police say a gunman opened fire on students, killing one and critically injuring another on the campus of Kentucky State University. The university, 55 miles east of Louisville, on lockdown. Police immediately racing to a nearby dorm around 3:35 p.m. after an incident with a, quote, active aggressor near the south side of the school. An official briefed on the situation, telling ABC News the shooting was caused by a personal dispute.
This was not a mass shooting or a random incident.
Today's shooting happening just days before final exams and winter break. And in a statement, the university says there is no ongoing threat to the community, still advising students to avoid parts of the South Campus.
Our thanks to Matt Rivers. Now to the terrifying scene on I-95 east of Orlando. A small plane crashed onto the highway and hit a car, yet remarkably everyone survived. Here's Victor Oquendo from Florida.
Tonight, the terrifying moment on I-95.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
A small plane crash landing on the busy Florida interstate, striking a car.
A plane just crashed onto a highway. On a highway.
According to the NTSB, the small twin-engine plane experienced a loss of power in both engines. The pilot forced to land east of Orlando during rush hour last night, crashing into a Toyota Camry. Emergency crews rushing to the site. Florida Highway Patrol saying the driver of the vehicle, a 57-year-old female from Melbourne, was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The pilot and passenger on board the plane, both 27 years old, were not injured and remained on scene.
They look like they're okay. They're very lucky that they made it.
Linsey, the plane had been in the air for over an hour as part of an instructional flight when it experienced that engine issue. The FAA and NTSB are investigating. Linsey?
Victor, thank you. Now to the life-threatening cold and dangerous driving tonight from the middle of the country right into the northeast next. Cars and trucks skidding off highways. Ginger will have the forecast in a moment, but first, Alex Perez on the bone-chilling cold.
Tonight, deadly accidents as a powerful storm slams the northern plains and Midwest. The North Dakota Highway Patrol tracking multiple wrecks on Interstate 94. Body camera showing sheriff's deputies responding to one in Gladstone, North Dakota. Watch the left side of the screen as a car on the other side of the highway skids through the snow as a deputy runs back across the highway to the cruiser. East of there, on that same interstate in Waukesha, Wisconsin, authorities say the driver of this car that rear-ended this plow truck Monday was killed. In the Northeast, firefighters in New York City battling a massive apartment fire and the brutal cold on Manhattan's Upper West Side this morning.
As soon as the water leaves the hose line, it starts to freeze on the ground.
At least 3 residents and 1 firefighter were hurt. In the west, an atmospheric river is bringing up to a foot of rain to parts of Washington state. The Snoqualmie Falls raging, multiple rivers in the state already at major flood stage.
And Linsey, here in Chicago, we've already gotten about 1.5 feet of snow so far this season, and now we're bracing for strong winds, more snow, and more bone-chilling temperatures. Linsey?
Alex, thanks so much. Ginger Z is tracking it all for us. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, Linsey. So it's a little warmer tonight here, but boy, don't get used to it because we're going to get even colder by the weekend. Let's talk about what comes in between there. The Pacific Northwest on day 2 of 3 of extremely heavy rain. So parts of the Olympics and Cascades, 8 to 10 inches of rain in those flood watches. Some of those rivers could go to record flood stage. Then you've got high wind warning. Cheyenne already clocked a 74-mile-per-hour gust. Now go over to the winter storm warning, Grand Forks to Wausau, Wisconsin, and over into Watertown. wraparound, all looking for significant snow. But remember, it comes along with wind. That's what's going to make the blizzard conditions in West Virginia. Snowshoe, look out tomorrow. Then look at this. It's I-94 and I-35 tonight. If you're traveling those, it's the snow plus wind gusts easily over 35 miles per hour. They wrap through Green Bay, Milwaukee. Chicago gets a little bit of the wraparound snow. But tomorrow, that snow moves into the northeast. Pretty big deal up into the Hudson Valley, the Berkshires, and the Green and White Mountains. At the coast, it should remain rain. Now, behind that, there's going to be even colder push of air, and by the weekend into early next week, it just keeps coming. We are stuck in this pattern, and some of the wind chill numbers getting out the door, say Sunday morning in Minneapolis, 25 below zero. Kansas City even ends up in the single digits to end the weekend. Here, it'll be teens and 20s. Lindsay.
Nice time to sit in front of the fireplace inside. All right. Thank you, Ginger.
Yes.
President Trump is speaking in Pennsylvania tonight to defend his work on the economy, already giving himself an A++. But a new poll today said 56% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the cost of living, with just 31% approving. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Hello, Pennsylvania, and I'm thrilled to be back.
President Trump in Pennsylvania tonight to sell his economic policies and confront the #1 concern for voters, the rising cost of living. But in a new interview, the president refusing to acknowledge it's an issue.
I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Most polls show voters don't agree. In a new Reuters Ipsos poll out today, 56% disapprove of how Trump is handling the cost of living. Just 31% approve. The president himself has acknowledged he won in large part because he promised to bring down prices on day one. But he now calls the issue of affordability a, quote, Democrat hoax.
You're getting lower prices, bigger paychecks, we're getting inflation, we're crushing it, and you're getting much higher wages. I mean, the only thing that's really going up big, it's called the stock market and your 401ks. That's going up.
The price of groceries is up from a year ago, including products impacted by Trump's tariffs. Coffee up 41%, sirloin steak 20%, frozen orange juice 12%. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro says Trump can't deny reality.
Folks can't unsee what they see when they go to the grocery store, which is that beef and OJ and bread and the normal staples that they need in their homes, those prices have dramatically increased on Donald Trump's watch.
The FBI and State Department tonight are releasing new pictures of a former Canadian Olympic snowboarder turned alleged drug trafficker. And he's not just any drug trafficker. Ryan Wedding is accused of moving $1 billion worth of cocaine into California every year. Here's Alex Stone from Los Angeles.
Tonight, this new look at former Canadian Olympic snowboarder turned alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. FBI agents believe the photo was taken sometime last summer in Mexico, where Wedding is said to be hiding, protected by the powerful Sinaloa cartel. Never before has such an intimate photo of Wedding been seen, apparently a selfie of him in bed. The U.S. Embassy in Mexico simultaneously releasing this photo, showing a very different-looking Wedding. His head shaved, but it's unclear when it was taken. Just last month, the FBI announced it was increasing a reward for the capture of Wedding from $10 million to $15 million, the highest for anybody on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list.
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Wedding has several aliases: James Conrad King, Jesse King, Public Enemy, Boss, Buddy, Grande, El Jefe, and El Toro, and is allegedly running a massive smuggling operation from Mexico, moving around $1 billion worth of cocaine into Southern California every year, according to the FBI.
His organization is responsible for importing approximately 60 metric tons of cocaine a year into Los Angeles via semi-trucks from Mexico. To put that in perspective, 60 metric tons is approximately the weight of 40 cars.
Wedding was once one of Canada's best snowboarders, competing in the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City, coming in 24th in the parallel giant slalom. Just last month, new charges were added against Wedding in what's called Operation Giant Slalom. 18 others charged as well, many now in custody. While on the run, investigators say Wedding crowdsourced information from the internet, gathering intelligence on a man who is set to testify against him. He then allegedly hired gunmen to murder that witness at a restaurant.
The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellin before he could testify against Wedding.
Among those now charged, Wedding's own lawyer.
His lawyer told him if you kill this witness, the case would be dismissed. That lawyer is now in custody.
Wedding is also accused of having a couple murdered who the FBI says he believed lost a cocaine shipment, but investigators say it was a case of mistaken identity.
This Justice Department and this FBI will work with our Canadian counterparts and the government officials across the world to bring him to justice.
Alex joins us now from Los Angeles. Alex, you've been talking to law enforcement. What do they believe it'll take to get Wedding into custody if he's hiding out in Mexico?
Well, Lindsay, I just got off the phone with a federal source saying first they have to figure out where he is in Mexico, that they believe he's in Mexico, but where they still don't know right now. Then it's a question if they could get to him. Is he protected? Would he go on the move? Go to the beach like we've seen kingpins do before? Go on vacation? Go to a wedding? They would then move in to get him then, Lindsay.
All right, Alex, thank you. 71-year-old Grammy-nominated opera singer Jubilant Sykes was found stabbed to death inside his Santa Monica home Monday night. Officers responded to a report of an assault and found Sykes with fatal stab wounds. Police say the singer's 31-year-old son was arrested on suspicion of homicide. Neighbors and police say the son has a history of mental illness. Sources tell ESPN 44-year-old quarterback Phillip Rivers is coming out of retirement to sign with the Indianapolis Colts. Rivers, who last played with the Colts in 2021 and before that played for the Chargers for 16 seasons, is joining the team's practice squad. All three of the Colts quarterbacks are injured. Rivers becomes the oldest active player in the NFL, but it's unclear if he'll play in the Colts' next game on Sunday. Rivers is currently a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2026, but his eligibility will be pushed back 5 years if he is signed to the Colts' active roster. Still ahead, she's taken on Texas. Our conversation with Representative Jasmine Crockett, who's hoping to be the first Democrat to clinch a Senate seat in nearly 4 decades. Plus, it's supposed to be the future of ride-sharing, but Waymo, the self-driving taxi, has been in the headlines for incidents in big cities. Tonight, we asked the company how they're fixing these bugs.
I don't think people should expect perfection. What's really important, though, is that we're learning from all the different scenarios that we encounter.
And Australia's first of its kind social media age limit. Could this work here in the U.S.? We take a look by the numbers. Welcome back, everyone. A first-of-its-kind social media law has gone into effect in Australia, placing an age restriction on using social media platforms and compelling these companies to find and remove any underage accounts. The new law comes amid growing concerns worldwide about social media's impact on children, with other countries planning their own age restrictions. Let's look at these social media limits by the numbers. Australia's law was passed just over 1 year ago, but just took effect. Now, anyone under 16 years of age is banned from having social media accounts in the country. The law applies to 10 social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok, though more could be added. Platforms could be subject to fines of up to just over $32 million if they do not take reasonable steps outlined in the law to prevent younger users from having accounts, but those underage users and their parents would not be penalized for violations. It's not just Australia. Beginning in 2026, Malaysia is also planning an under 16 social media ban, while Denmark and Norway have said that they plan to set a minimum age of 15 years old to use social media. It's worth noting many popular social media platforms have used age 13 as the minimum age for users, including in the United States. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, and also Google, which owns YouTube, are among those who said that they would comply with the Australian law and sign out users under 16. However, both expressed concerns about the law. Meta claimed many agree that blanket bans were not the solution and that parents should be able to decide which apps teens can use. Meanwhile, Google claimed the law misunderstands their platform and how it's used, and that the law will not make children safer online. For more now, we're joined by Dr. Megan Moreno, the principal investigator at the University of Wisconsin Social Media and Adolescent Health Research Team. Thank you so much for joining us. In terms of 16 being the minimum age in Australia, why do you think that age in particular was chosen as the cutoff?
I think that that's a common age where we recognize adolescents are starting to make more of a bridge into being older adolescents. In our country, that's when teens can start driving and take on other responsibilities. But a tricky thing about that age is that that's also an age where kids really start to push away from their parents. So I think a risk of this law is that there may be some lost opportunities for youth to interact with their parents while they're getting new experiences on social media.
In part of Meta's statement about Australia's law, they said experts, youth groups, and many parents agree that blanket bans are not the solution. Do you agree? What are some of the benefits and risks of that kind of ban?
I think that blanket bans are not the overall solution, and that a longer-term solution would involve a lot more collective responsibility, including responsibility by the platforms for designing products that have better safety and better options for kids to be able to have an age-appropriate experience.
Could this kind of ban ever work here in the U.S.?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we're going to have to watch Australia and see how it works there. I think we're really fortunate to get to watch and learn from their experience, and also for the platforms to watch and learn and think about what are ways that they can better serve kids of all ages.
Without a ban, what general advice would you give to parents about how to make sure a younger child or teen uses social media safely?
One of the things that I think about a lot in my research and in my clinical practice is that those early adolescent years, usually between 13 and 15, are really interesting in that you have teens that are starting to be independent, starting to push away, maybe starting to use more technology, but that those youth are really still invested in talking with their parents and getting support and guidance. So I think having parents be open and willing to have conversations with their kids about what those experiences are like is a really helpful way to make that those initial technology experiences positive and healthy for kids.
Dr. Megan Moreno, thank you so much for the insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, our conversation with Representative Jasmine Crockett as she enters the U.S. Senate race in Texas. And Waymo's autonomous vehicles have taken to the streets, but not without some close calls. In tonight's Prime Focus, we learn what the company has to say about those incidents and its safety record.
Our superstar today, Caroline. Stand up, Caroline. Isn't she great? Is Caroline great? You know, when she goes on television, Fox, they dominate. They dominate when she gets up there with that beautiful face and those lips that don't stop, up, like a little machine gun. She's got no fear. You know why she has no fear? Because we have the right policy. We don't have men in women's sports. We don't have to sell men in women's sports. We don't have to sell transgender to everybody.
And there you have President Trump speaking at a rally in Pennsylvania tonight. It is just one place Republicans hope that they'll be able to win in the 2026 midterms. Another key state next year could be Texas. Texas has not elected a Democrat to the Senate since 1988. Tonight, Representative Jasmine Crockett is hoping voters in the Lone Star State will choose her not just to represent Democrats, but ultimately win in the 2026 midterms. Tonight, we want to welcome Representative Crockett back to the show. Thank you so much for your time, Congresswoman.
It's good to see you.
So Republicans have not lost a statewide office in more than 30 years in Texas. Senator John Cornyn, a likely Republican opponent in this race, said about you getting into the race, quote, "Am I hiding my glee? I'll try to wipe the smile off of my face. I would say it's a gift." President Trump also said it's a gift for Republicans. Why do you think you can buck the trend here and be the first Democrat to win in 3 decades?
Well, let me tell you something. They're not really good at the game of poker if this is how they play. If they are truly gleeful, then it seems like they would not express their glee until we actually got through the primary. Just so that they know, in case they didn't know, because I know that John Cornyn is going to have a very long primary ahead of him because it looks like he's headed into a runoff. Our primary isn't for 84 days. So if they were truly happy and they really wanted me to be the nominee, they probably would be quiet about me. And that's what they've been about my opponent. Let me tell you something. They want people to believe that I'm someone that can't win. But the reality is that you made it very clear. They've not won in 30 years with a Democrat in the state of Texas, and they've not tried it with a Democrat like me. A lot of times it's been a matter of, you know what, let's try to go and get those crossover votes and things like that. Well, Texas has one of the lowest voter turnout states. It's one of the lowest voter turnout states in the country. I plan to change that. I plan to excite the base and get people to show up, in addition to making sure that I can point out when they are doing nothing but distract, like that clip that you just played of the president, where he doesn't want to talk about his atrocious record as it relates to the economy. As people are projecting that we are potentially going into a depression, he is talking about sports. The last time that we needed to elect a president to decide which girls and boys were going to play where, I don't know that that was ever one of the assignments of the president, but making sure he didn't crash the economy, it is one of the assignments. And right now he's failing. And I think that it's so important that we make sure that families continue to understand who is hurting them, whether it's healthcare, housing, jobs, childcare. We need to make it clear who it is that is inflicting that harm and who it is that will not stand up for them and won't be Texas tough. And let me tell you, I will always stand up against anybody that comes for the people of Texas.
You said that you're going to excite the base. How are you going to do that? You know, Beto O'Rourke, many moons ago, felt that he had that excitement. And he, of course, fell short in the Senate. Colin Allred fell by 9 points to Ted Cruz running. What makes you think that you'll be different?
Yeah, so I'm very excited that you brought up these races because we absolutely studied not only the current numbers and the current trends, not only from our poll, but third-party polls. We also looked back at history. We looked at those exit polls. And one of the things that we noticed is that Beto O'Rourke, who is a progressive, so I don't think this is about progressive versus moderate, to be perfectly honest, Beto O'Rourke actually did better. Now, what were we looking at? We were looking at someone who was pretty much disliked nationally. I can say for sure that depending on who comes out, we may have a nominee that's not even known nationally. So that's number one. Number two, what we know about Beto O'Rourke is that he earned over 65% of the Latino vote, as well as approximately 90% of the African-American vote. What we know from all of the trends and all of the polls that we've researched is that I was performing best with African-Americans and Latinos as it relates to this particular primary. So I think that we run up those numbers. I think that we run up those numbers past 90% with African Americans, and I think that we bring new people in. We specifically did something that is not normally done in a poll. We wanted to see if we could talk to people that were registered voters, but for whatever reason had not voted here recently. And we asked them specifically, if this person, or this person were on the ballot, would you be more inclined to vote? And if so, would that be voting for that person or against that person? And the numbers were clear as well, that a lot of people that have tuned out politics, they were saying that they would be more inclined to vote if it were me. The final point that I'll make is that a lot of people talk about my communication skills, but I will tell you that what has really broken through is just someone who doesn't seem like there are pundits or some sort of staffers or something that are telling me what to say, but instead I speak from my heart. And just like we've seen Mondami Trump voters, we've seen AOC Trump voters, we've seen Obama Trump voters, I think that we've been missing the mark and that people are voting for who it is that they trust. And I think that I have built a rapport with the American people. And I think that there are a lot of people, I've heard it on the road and the numbers show it as well, that are saying, you know what, if it's you, I trust you. And so I think that we're going to be able to turn people out.
Until yesterday, Colin Allred was running for the Senate seat. He says that you spoke with him on the phone and called the conversation professional and friendly. Then a few hours later, he did drop out. I'm sure you can't reveal exactly, but can you just give us an idea of what that conversation was like?
What I'll tell you is exactly what he told you. Listen, Colin and I have known each other prior to either one of us actually serving on the federal level, prior to us ever being in elected office. What most people don't know is that I started my political career in East Texas. And what it was is I was a county party chair. Back then, Colin had worked on various campaigns. He worked on the Hillary campaign. He had worked on a gubernatorial campaign. And so we had been in touch, and it's because we had been doing the work in the streets. And so we've known each other and we've been friends prior to us working together. And, you know, I had told people that I would call both of the people in the race if I felt like I was potentially going to enter. And I can tell you that everyone knows that Colin Allred is a football player. I can tell you that he's a team player. I can tell you that, you know, at the end of the day, what I believe both of us are trying to do is make sure that we do what we can do to make sure that we flip Texas. And I absolutely believe that we will continue to work together to make sure that we get that done.
Win in Texas, as you know, you're likely going to need to appeal to voters who cast their ballot for Trump in 2024. What specifically is your message to those voters?
Tell me why that's the talking point that I guess they've sent around to all of y'all. Here's the reality, right? Texas had maybe 51% of its voters turn out, 51%. So maybe we should talk about the other 49% that did not turn out, right? And so that's where our main focus will be. Now, here is the reality. We have seen, whether we look in Georgia, which is a red state that's starting to look more and more purple every single day. We saw 2 statewide wins on November 4th. We also saw that in Mississippi, they were able to flip 2 Senate seats to Democrats. Today, we just saw down in Miami that they just flipped a mayoral seat that has been held by Republicans for the last 30 years. We just saw the other week in Tennessee, deep red Tennessee, where a seat that Trump had won by over 22 points, that came within single digits. So let me tell you something. Either more people are deciding to get involved, or what we have is that we have people that are saying, you know what, we made a mistake. He wasn't the one that was actually going to take care of us. Either way, anyone who wants to talk about affordability, wants to talk about how it is that their kids are going to be able to access education, wants to talk about what it looks like to have a job opportunity or to be able to get the funding so that you can start your own business, wants to talk about what it looks like to actually be able to save your farm or your ranch, I am here for you. That is the conversation. Honestly, I don't think that this is a partisan conversation. This comes down to people literally wanting to survive in this country. That it is life or death right now. And those are the conversations that we're going to have. And anyone who voted for him and decides, you know what, we want to vote for Jasmine now because Jasmine is vowing that she is going to make sure that things are more affordable. She's vowing to make sure that we have access to education and health care. And I want that for me and my family. Then I'll be your candidate. I don't think that it's a time for us to kind of say, well, it's a D or R or get into all of that, because where's that gotten us? It's not gotten us to a great place, as people are saying that they believe that we may be hitting Great Depression numbers soon.
And Congressman, just with about 30 seconds left, if you win, of course, you'd be serving in the Senate under Chuck Schumer. Are you confident in his leadership?
Listen, you're saying that, now I don't know how votes go. I assume that we're going to get a vote every Congress for who is going to be the leader of the Senate. And I absolutely defer to those that are currently in the Senate to have conversations about what is best for us. Listen, if Chuck throws his hat in there, his hat in the ring, I believe that that's because he knows that he has the support of the caucus. I don't remember when they've actually had a contested race for this particular position in recent times. So with that being said, listen, I'm just ready to work together. I'm not trying to divide. We've had enough division. That's how we ended up with Donald Trump. I am ready to work with anyone that wants to work, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican. And frankly, that is why up until now, me and Senator Cornyn have always had a friendly relationship. It's because when it came down to it, we were able to set aside our differences and work on legislation on behalf of Texans. And that's exactly what I plan to do.
Congresswoman Crockett, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Coming up, what's old is new. It might sound a lot like a taxi, but soon when you arrive at an airport, you can order an Uber without ever having the app on your phone. We'll explain. Welcome back to Prime. Here's a look at the stories making headlines right now. Tonight, multiple states are on winter storm alerts. Dangerous cold weather is sweeping across the country, all the way from the Dakotas to the Northeast, with icy gusts of wind expected to hit the Northeast tomorrow. And in the West, an atmospheric river is bringing up to a foot of rain in parts of Washington state, as multiple rivers in the state are already at risk of flooding. And today, President Donald Trump tackled Americans' concerns about affordability. The president defended his policies and the economy at a rally in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, backing his proposed $12 billion bailout for American farmers hurt by the tariffs that he imposed, saying the Democrats caused the affordability problem and we are the ones fixing it. Authorities released new photos of Ryan Wedding, a former Olympic snowboarder turned alleged drug kingpin. Wedding is on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list and wanted for, quote, running and participating in a transnational drug trafficking operation. The statement also included that he was allegedly involved in orchestrating multiple murders. The FBI believes he is now in Mexico. The suspect accused of shooting New York Jets player Chris Boyd has been arrested and charged. On November 16th, Boyd was shot around 2 a.m. in the abdomen in Midtown Manhattan and underwent several treatments for the bullet lodged in his lung. Law enforcement sources told ABC News the suspect identified as 20-year-old Frederick Green. His charges include assault, criminal possession of a weapon, and attempted murder. And still ahead, actress June Squibb is 96 years young and has achieved already so much, but just recently accomplished a career first. And our inside look at Waymo, whose autonomous vehicles have been all over the headlines, and how it plans to address recent safety concerns in an increasingly competitive market. Uber's latest attempt at making rideshare more accessible by introducing a physical kiosk at an airport. The Powerball jackpot surges again, and the Academy Award-nominated actress heading back to Broadway at 96 years old. These stories and more in tonight's Rundown. Rideshare app Uber is launching a new way to get a ride from the airport. The company plans to install physical kiosks at arrival terminals in select airports that allow riders to request a car even if they don't have the app. Uber says this could help international travelers without local data plans to hail a ride from the airport. The first kiosk will debut at LaGuardia Airport in New York City, with more locations planned in the future. A powerful solar eruption is expected to hit Earth soon, according to a forecast from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. A geomagnetic storm of this magnitude is considered strong and has the potential to cause some minor impacts to technology, such as satellite disruptions and radio communication issues. Solar activity could also cause stronger than usual auroras, making the northern lights visible in more U.S. regions than usual, including many northern states and some states from the lower Midwest to Oregon. The Powerball jackpot is now ballooned to an estimated $930 million after no winners were declared in last night's drawing. The game's jackpot was last won in September when two tickets in Missouri and Texas split the $1.78 billion prize. But don't start counting your millions just yet. The odds of winning the massive jackpot are about 1 in 292 million, according to Powerball. Paleontologists in Bolivia were retracing the steps of decades-old research when they made a massive discovery, a trove of more than 16,000 dinosaur footprints, the largest discovery of its kind to date. The footprints were discovered over the course of 6 years and belong to the theropods, which are a group of dinosaurs which includes the Tyrannosaurus rex. The study also found that some of these creatures that used to roam the area probably tried to swim in a nearby lake. Researchers found footprints that were pressed into the mud just before their water levels rose and preserved their giant footprints for millions of years. Shohei Ohtani is continuing his path to becoming a baseball legend. The baseball superstar was crowned Male Athlete of the Year for the fourth time in 5 years by the Associated Press. He now ties LeBron James, Lance Armstrong, and Tiger Woods, who've all been selected 4 times as well. Ohtani received a majority of votes from AP Sports writers and its members after a dominating year, which ended in a repeat World Series title for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And actress June Squibb is starring in her first leading role on Broadway at the age of 96. Squibb is playing the title role in the play Marjorie Prime, a story about memories and loss that take place in our high-tech world. Squibb made her Broadway debut in 1959 in the original production of Gypsy, a musical fable. Since then, she was nominated for an Academy Award for her role in the 2013 film Nebraska, following decades of supporting roles in TV and film. Marjorie Prime is now playing at the Hayes Theater on Broadway. Welcome back, everyone. Autonomous cars like this one have quickly become a common sight in big cities, but a series of close calls involving Waymo self-driving taxis driving past stopped school buses have led the company to issue a software recall. In tonight's Prime Focus, our Jacqueline Lee talked to Waymo about these incidents and why, in the increasingly competitive market, the industry leader stands by its safety record.
Autonomous cars, once a fantasy out of science fiction movies.
While it may not be the same route a human driver would take, it's the most optimal for the Waymo driver.
Now becoming a common sight in big cities and disrupting ride-sharing and public transportation as we know it. Amid a competitive field, the runaway leader, Google Alphabet's Waymo, operates more than 2,500 vehicles across Los Angeles, San Francisco, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Austin. In some cities, the self-driving cars now cleared for use on the freeway.
Randomly stop.
Since its debut to the public in 2020, there have been hiccups.
Sorry, we can't get out the car.
A video from Saturday captured 3 Waymo self-driving cars frozen in an apparent standoff on a residential street in San Francisco.
Oh no, I just pulled out of the garage and I saw this going on. It's like this Waymo standoff.
And last week, a Waymo drove through an active police scene in LA.
What the is that Waymo doing?
The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration launched a preliminary investigation around illegal maneuvers like these. In Austin, Texas, at least 19 incidents of Waymo vehicles bypassing stopped school buses while children crossed the road. The company issued a voluntary software recall.
We've already analyzed the situation and implemented fixes so that such situations are much less likely to occur in the future.
So you're saying it will not happen again?
I don't think people should expect perfection. What's really important, though, is that we're learning from all the different scenarios that we encounter.
Waymo's Director of Product Management, Vishay Nihalani, says they're constantly learning from incidents like these and updating the car's AI system.
Couldn't someone argue, if it can't figure that out yet, why are you putting it out there when lives are at stake?
We've driven over 100 million miles on public roads, and we've demonstrated that we have an incredible safety record, one that is so safe that it's almost at a point where we believe it's irresponsible not to continue rolling this product out further.
And that rollout continues. Waymo testing operations in 20 additional cities, plus New York City, London, and Tokyo. As someone who has never been inside an autonomous vehicle, Nihalani hailed my first.
Call a car on the app, and it shows up right at curbside to pick you up.
It's kind of like a ghost car, because there's no person.
Yeah.
As we get a look inside.
Clicking start ride.
Let's do it.
This is so crazy. I'm watching the wheel turn, and there's no human.
I notice instantly I don't have to interact with anyone or tip a driver. No small talk or awkward conversation, but the car is equipped with interior cameras and microphones.
The microphones are off?
That's right.
Unless you activate it?
That's right.
And the video cameras are on, but no one is watching it?
That's right. So you're not, our support team is not able to sort of proactively dial in.
Can someone hack into your system to be able to watch?
We go through great pains to make sure that we are as secure as possible.
This ability for privacy is why Waymo argues their service is beneficial for women, minorities, and other vulnerable communities.
This is our community room where we have all of our classes.
Harvest Home is a Los Angeles-based program helping unhoused pregnant women transition off the streets.
It's a place for them to feel safe and feel like it's their own.
Absolutely, yeah.
Waymo providing free rides.
I think of one mom in particular who had an experience where she was harassed in riding the bus, and it was a real barrier to her to getting back onto the bus, to getting to her critical appointments.
In 2019, 3 rideshare companies reported at least 4,600 incidents of sexual assault, according to the Government Accountability Office. And experts say instances of sexual harassment are often underreported or unreported entirely.
To know that there's an option for transportation, that you can get somewhere without having to interact with somebody, to know that you're going to be safe, it's really changing their lives.
And those living with disabilities like epilepsy, who can't legally drive, say autonomous vehicles are changing the game for the better.
I don't have to have that conversation about my very personal health information because it is safe. If I was to have a seizure in a Waymo, Waymo would be alerted, and then I would have access to care immediately. And that's something you can't necessarily guarantee if you're in a ride share or any other type of transportation.
Waymo emphasizes its mission of improving rider safety in all aspects. Each car is equipped with 29 cameras and LiDAR sensing. The company says it has reduced the rates of accidents involving pedestrians by 12 times compared to when a human driver is behind the wheel.
What if there is a collision?
Our emergency response team, of course, is going to dial in to speak to you to make sure that you're okay.
There are still moments where police step in. A cop pulling over a Waymo, baffled to discover no driver inside. Waymo working with the Los Angeles Police Department to educate officers on how to issue citations.
In the 2 years that Waymo has been operating in Los Angeles, how many incidents have officers encountered?
I think it's only been a few incidents, maybe less than a handful.
Are there safety concerns among LAPD when it comes to Waymo operating in the city?
So far, no. Like I say, the officers have been provided with training. There's a 1-800 number that they could call.
Those sharing the road with a Waymo may notice what could be considered an overly cautious driving style. The company says it's reconfigured the vehicles to drive more aggressively in San Francisco, mimicking human behavior. It's not just Waymo. Jeff Bezos' Zoox and Elon Musk's Tesla robotaxi are just getting started.
Why are you so excited about AI when arguably a human can do the same task? Why embrace it?
The Waymo driver is always attentive. It's always able to see within, all around the car. The Waymo driver is never distracted, impaired, or tired, and it's always focused on the road around it.
Attentive, but not perfect. In San Francisco, where Waymo is headquartered, some community members are fighting to keep Waymos out of their neighborhood after a beloved cat, affectionately known as the mayor of 16th Street, was hit and killed by the autonomous vehicle in November.
What is your response to those members of the community who don't want you there?
As an example, we see over 175,000 cats and dogs in the cities that we operate in on a daily basis. And, while these events do happen rarely and they are tragic, it's something that we use to improve the system.
At the fabled Peterson Automotive Museum, we took a look back at the car's 16-year history, from its first prototype.
We call this the Firefly, cute little name for a cute little car.
To present day.
This is the 6th generation Waymo driver.
Nihalani says the future of making roads safer is bright.
We don't have to accept this level of traffic deaths on the road.
And as Waymo continues to evolve, he says they will convince drivers of this too, one ride at a time.
Our thanks to Jacqueline Lee. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us.